Hey there, it's Mr. Stu. I'm not sure about you, but there are times where I feel feelings that I just don't want to feel. Sometimes it's from something that I heard somebody say, or sometimes it's from something I read or something I did. And there are some feelings that are really hard to feel sometimes. Feelings like feeling angry or sad. Now, these feelings aren't bad to feel, but sometimes it can feel really tough to have these feelings when all I really want to feel is happy. Well, today I would like to tell you a story about a little girl who heard some things that made her feel sad and made her feel angry, but then she was able to listen to the right voices, and those voices helped her feel much more happy. And at the end of our story, I'm going to teach you how to make these really cool finger dwarfs. Now, why would I pick dwarves? Because our story today is kind of like Snow White. And if you've ever heard of Snow White, then maybe you've also heard of the 7 dwarves. Our story is kind of like Snow White, but not quite Snow White. What I mean is that's the name of the story, not quite Snow White. Here, I'll bring it up, I'll show you. Look, not quite Snow White. That's the name of our story. Not quite Snow White. Written by Ashley Franklin. Illustrated by Ebony Glenn. I think that this is going to be a really good story. For Tamika, it was always the right time and place to dance and sing. Oh, so she really likes dancing and singing. Tamika had a hip-rolling dance, a swayful, sad dance, a stomping, mad dance, and a hair-flicking, just because she felt fabulous dance. She sang high with the tweeting birds and low with the croaking frogs. She always shared her love of music and movement with an audience, stuffed and unstuffed. Look, she's singing and dancing for the birds and the bunny in the background and these 2 squirrels and those 2 little frogs, and she's got some stuffed animals set up. Maybe you don't know anybody who will watch you dance or who will listen to you sing all the time, but you could always go sing and dance in a safe place outside, or sing and dance for some stuffed animals, or when you make these cool paper dwarves, you could set them up and they could be your audience. There's always someone or something that would be willing to watch and listen. So Tamika always shared her love of music and movement with an audience, stuffed and unstuffed. Tamika loved the stage. It was her perfect place. She was the star of every show, and she loved every show that she starred in. She had been a cucumber. Look at her there in between the carrot and the broccoli. A space cowgirl, a dinosaur, and her favorite part, a singing mermaid. On stage, Tamika felt like she could be anything or anyone she wanted to be, but she had never been a princess. Now, she would finally have her chance. Tamika was so excited that she went to both days of auditions for the Snow White musical. On the first day, she arrived super early. She helped friends with their lines, kept count for the dancers, and shooed butterflies from nervous tummies so songs could be sung. Tamika was being really helpful. After the audition, Tamika heard some of the other kids whispering, "She can't be Snow White. She's too tall." she's much too chubby. And she's too brown. These are some voices that are saying some things that are not true. And they're also things that could make Tamika feel sad and angry. Let's see what she does with these voices. Tamika looked at her legs. They were long. Maybe the kids were right. A princess shouldn't be taller than her prince, should she? She looked at her belly. Maybe what the kids said was true. She could not remember any chubby princesses. Tamika looked at her skin. She was brown. How could a girl with brown skin play a princess like Snow White? Could those kids be wrong? Maybe she was wrong for wanting to be this princess. So Tamika was listening to all those voices. And now she's starting to think that maybe she doesn't deserve to be a princess. Tamika slouched. She tried to hunch over. Sucked in her belly. She tried pulling down her sleeves. But there was no getting around being brown. For the first time, she didn't feel like dancing or singing. At dinner, Tamika didn't tap her feet or clang rhythms with her spoon. Is something wrong? Asked her mom. The other kids said I'm too tall, too chubby, and too brown. I'm not right for Snow White, said Tamika. You've got it all wrong, Mom said. You are tall enough, chubby enough, and brown enough to be a perfect princess. Besides, said her dad, Snow White is just pretend. You've always been my real princess. You're just enough of all the right stuff. He kissed her forehead. Tamika smiled. How's she feeling now? Yeah, she's feeling happy. Maybe her parents were on to something. Now she's listening to voices that aren't making her feel angry or sad. They're making her feel happy. At the audition the next day, Tamika watched all the other kids get on stage and do their best. It was Tamika's turn at last. She remembered what her parents had said, but her long legs were still a little jittery. She closed her eyes and imagined she was singing and dancing for her favorite audience of friends, stuffed and unstuffed. Then she remembered the joy she felt when performing. Tamika knew she could do it. And she did. She shone like the star she was. She could act. She could dance. She could sing. She loved herself as much as she loved music and movement. Tamika was a perfectly poised princess. When her audition was over, Tamika looked out to smiling faces. Tamika wasn't too much of anything. Maybe she was just enough of all the right stuff. Oh, what a great story about a beautiful and great and brave and special little girl. I hope that that story helped you feel a little more happy. And now it's time to make our finger dwarves. And I'll tell you, here's what I do. When I start to hear people say things that are making me angry or things that are making me sad, I have a trick that I do with these little finger dwarves, and I'm going to teach it to you right after we learn how to make them. All you need is a piece of card, like an index card, or even a piece of paper will work, but it's better if you can find something that's a little bit smaller than that. So an index card is what I use because I think that it's just a great size, but use whatever you can. If you have a rectangle, I'm going to show you how to turn it into a square. It's like a little bit of a magic trick. So here's what we're going to do. We need a square of paper, and I don't like using scissors, and I don't like measuring things or anything like that. I just like to figure out how to do it the best I can. So the way that we make a square out of a rectangle is we take this corner right here, and we're going to fold this corner all the way down until we have a triangle. Do you see that? See, it's a triangle flat against this side, flat against here. And there's a little bit extra down here, but it's flat against this side. And we're going to fold that really good to make a triangle. Now, here's how we make the square. You take this piece right here, and you're going to fold that up to match the triangle. Now, if you have some square paper, this is a whole lot easier, but Mr. Stu doesn't have square paper, so this is what we do. Now, if you crease this really, really good, and guess what? You don't even have to use scissors. If you fold it really good, and sometimes you have to fold it back and forth and back and forth, and what you can do is you take it and you just tear it. Now, it's not perfect, but nothing in life is. Then we get rid of this little rectangle, and now we've got a square. And our little finger dwarves, each of them, I've colored them different colors. You can use colored paper, but again, Mr. Stu doesn't have colored paper. So what I do is I take one side of my note card, and then I take a marker, and I'm gonna color it. This one, I'm gonna make it purple because Tamika had on a beautiful purple dress. Let's see. So we just color the whole side of the paper, and you can see it's not perfect. Oop, we're gonna make that a little bit better. That was too much left uncolored for Mr. Stu. So we're gonna color the whole thing the best that we can. You can use crayons or colored pencils or markers, or you don't have to color it at all. So here's my paper. So on one side I have purple, and on the other side I have white. What we're gonna do is we take this square and we're gonna fold it right on that line that we folded it before to make the triangle. There we go. Then we're gonna unfold it. Now, see how the line is up and down? What we're gonna do is we're gonna take this and we're gonna make a little shape that to me looks a lot like a kite. The way that we do it is we bring this corner into the middle onto that line that we used to make the triangle. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to take this, we're going to fold it in. And now, if you look, we have a shape that's kind of like a kite. Now what we do is we're going to take this corner right here and we're going to fold it up to this part right here. So where those two corners touch and match. Just like that. Good job! So we folded that. So now we've got kind of the base of our dwarf. Then we're going to turn it around. And what we want to do is see this is the thicker side here. We want to take this and we're going to fold it down so that we show some of the other side of our paper. So we're going to fold it down. And I like to make this point touch right down here, but it's important to have this line. You'll see the little fold, and you want that line to line up right in the middle. And then you fold it. And then, because the gnome has a little hat on, we're going to make the rim of the hat, and we'll fold down one more time, just a tiny little fold right there. Now's the time to draw on our face. And for this one, I want to draw on a smiley face because that story made me so happy. But maybe you're feeling a different kind of way. Maybe you're feeling a feeling that you don't want to feel, and that's okay too. You can put that on your dwarf also. All feelings are welcome to be shared. Just make sure the sharing is kind. Now, after we have our face drawn and we've made our little hat, what we're going to do is turn it over one more time, and we take these parts right here and we're going to fold them together. Now, Mr. Stu is kind of clumsy at this part. So what we do, since we're Mr. Stu and we're clumsy, is we take a little piece of tape, and instead of trying to fold it there, we just take the tape and we tape it. Oh, and even that, Mr. Stu is clumsy at. Let's see. We take the tape and we tape it. There we go. And that way it holds so that when I put my finger in it, it doesn't open back up. So now when we turn it around, we have our happy little finger dwarf. Now I told you that there's a trick I use when I'm feeling a feeling that I don't really want to feel. Because sometimes those angry feelings pop into my head and they want to keep talking and they want to say, get more angry, slam more stuff. Punched a pillow, punched the wall, and it gets me angrier and angrier, and I don't want to be angrier and angrier. Or sometimes I hear things that make me feel sad, and then it gets in my head because I listen to it, and it keeps trying to talk to me. It keeps saying, you're not good enough. You're too fat. You're too dumb. You're not talented. You can't do it. And it keeps telling me all those things, and it makes me really sad. So here's what I do. If I'm feeling a feeling that I don't want to feel, then I make a little finger dwarf that tells me about that feeling. So if I'm hearing things and there are thoughts in my head that are making me feel angry, then I make a little angry finger dwarf. And if I'm hearing things that are making me feel sad, then I make a sad little finger dwarf. And guess what? I'll listen to anything that they want to tell me. So if angry dwarf wants to tell me to be more angry, I'll listen. And if sad dwarf wants to tell me that I'm too stupid, I'll listen. But then I get to tell them the conversation is over. I heard everything that they wanted to say, and it's done now. So they don't get to tell me how to feel anymore. So after I've listened to angry dwarf, and after I've listened to sad dwarf, I get to do something really cool. I pop them off my fingers and I throw them in the trash. And that's what you can do too. If you're hearing things that are making you feel angry or making you feel sad, then you can just throw them right away. Remember, all feelings are welcome to be felt and all feelings are welcome to be shared, but make sure the sharing is kind. And anytime somebody tells you that you are too much or too little of anything, just remember that you are enough of all the right stuff. And when you remember that, hopefully you can be a little more happy. You are so special. You are so brave. Until next time, share the love. Bye-bye.